Okay. Where are we up to? We are on the bottom two lines. Bottom two lines.
Now we have an upside down special guest.
Who's that? Oh, Kamma?
He's back.
I don't know where he was.
Ishkoyach, parrot, ishkoyach.
There you go.
I'm back. I started, and I know it's a machayev. I appreciate it, Rabbi.
Well, we hope to see you. We hope to see you. Not in
And
person.
this, we want you to be seen, not heard. Yeah.
Right. Just in person, not in Zoom.
I'm sure I'm sure you don't want to see me in person, so I'm gonna connect in over here up in Zoom.
Okay, there you go. Okay, good. You should be matzliach. All right, so on two lines are on the bottom. So we have very interesting. So first of all, we discussed it last night a little bit, but from the last Gemara that it leaves off. So Lamaisa, the Muke Yosef in the Rishonim in the back holds that as long as you're not sure if the recipient giving tzedakah, Yirmiyah gave them a curse. That's a different issue. How could he give them a curse that a mitzvah that they do, they shouldn't be Makayim? Right? But that's the first question. The other one is that it sounds like if you give tzedakah to somebody and it doesn't end up being the proper tzedakah, so then you're not yotzeh. So we said yesterday that means if you know definitively that the guy is not an ani, which in that case, what's the chiddush, right? But if you're masupik whether the guy's an ani or not, then you're gonna still be makayim the mitzvah. And certainly, if you got fooled, then you're makayim the mitzvah of giving tzedakah. Okay, so that's what we left off yesterday. So we're two lines up from the bottom. All right, so now we're talking about Chizkiah Hamelech's Kvura. Right, so the covered also led the Moisai, and they did a covered for him when he died. What did they do? Yeshiva al Kivroi. They made a yeshiva on his kever. Right, so sort of like they have different yeshivas by different kfarim in Eretz Yisrael, right? And there's no yeshiva in by Rishon Vayichai. Yeshiva there, Chaylulim, whatever it is.
No help.
What?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want. They have everything.
The Ohel. They have a Ohel.
And an Uman and the Baal Shem Tov.
All right. That's the oil. You're right. The oil has, right. The stomach. Anyways, so if you look at the bottom Tosfos, that there was a lot of Torah then. But Tosfos says on the bottom line, he says they didn't make the yeshiva right on top of his cave, because that's loyeg larosh, right? That's the same reason why we talk in our tzitzis when we go to a levaya, right? And when you go to a cemetery, you talk in your tzitzis because you don't want to tease the niftarim that they can't be makayim, then that can't be makayim mitzvah tzitzis. So how do you go make a yeshiva? How do you go make a yeshiva on top of the cave? So Tosfos says it means about 4 amos away. So then there's no loyeg larosh. More than 4 amos away, there's no loyeg larosh. Right? That's Tosfos. The Muke Yosef says no, and the Muke Yosef is the justification for a lot of things that we do, because if you can't wear your tzitzis within Dalet Amos, so how do you go say Tilim within Dalet Amos? Okay, how do you say Kaddish? Right? So the Nemuke Yosef says when you're doing it, covered the nifter, then it's okay, which seems to be the hanhaga of the vel, right? That's when it's done, covered the nifter, so then you could do whatever you want. So if that's the case, then they could have made the yeshiva right on top of his kever, because it was done covered him, right?
And what would Tosfos want you to do by a kever?
You got to do whatever you want, more than 4 amos away. That's all. You got to be more than 4 amos.
And what would you do within 4 amos according to him?
Nothing.
Tell him the baseball scores?
Yeah, don't go within 4 amos.
Don't ever go within 4 amos. I'm just trying to understand what
Oh, you could go and dance the Kazatska if you want. I'm saying.
What did Tosfos do on his father's yard day?
I have no idea, but
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I imagine he lit a candle and said "Ketairas" from a cloth.
Okay, fine.
I don't-
He also brought breakfast for the whole chevra for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, the l'chayr.
Rabbi, the
And the
Chazon
L'chaim.
Ish holds you now let us say to Kaddish, and they Pakistan people
Can't
they
hear him.
stand outside
Yes.
4 hours.
I once saw that taka from the Stipler. The Stipler held no Tilim or Kaddish within 4 amas of the kaver. Like Toises. Chayr. Right? But
Any
that's-
caver, Rabbi, not only of the Chazanish's caver.
No, every caver. Every caver. Every caver. They held you can't do it.
I mean, the sniper
So what
did
they-
what a Rishon said to do.
Can you believe it?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Does
Why,
anyone
is
know
it
what he
be-
did do
Is it
when he went
because
on the
you
yard
don't?
site?
What? Because you don't want to tease the neshama?
Yeah.
No, what was the like Leroy Chevrolet?
Yes, that's what we're saying. But how do you go say a Kaddish? That's what we're talking about. How do you go say a Kaddish within 4 hours? What did he do?
Kaddish is a Shavach to the Rabbani Shalom. It's not the.
Yeah,
It's
but
not. Why would that be a bezoyan to the mace?
Because the mace can't say a Kaddish.
You're not asking the mace to say the Kaddish, and even
You're not
asking him to say Amen. It's to be it's to give the mace the zechus of everybody answering Heishmei Rabba. That's a zechus for the mace.
Oh, so you're saying like the Nemuke Yosef.
I'm not asking the mace to wear tzitzis either.
Right. But
Is that why in Yerushalayim they don't want really the
Well,
kids?
you bury a mace with his towels. Maybe he goes with it. How do you know?
that's a different.
You passel the talus first before you bury him.
Yeah. That's not what I know, Zev. That has nothing to do with the kids not going to the Levaya.
Yeah, they go, is that what it is?
That's a different Indian. That's a different Indian. In Garada, somebody asked me today. Once you bring that up, somebody asked me today. Somebody was nifted from her husband's side, but her minig from her mother and her grandmother is not to go to the cemetery. But her husband's minig is that the women do go to the cemetery. So should she go? Should she not go?
She has to listen to her husband.
Listen to the husband. If the husband wants her there, so then she's got to go. Right?
Aaron, I wish you would be right in 2023 that they listen to the husbands.
There you go. Anyways, okay, so that's a machlokes Taisus and the Nemuke Yosef. Fine. Pligi bar of Nasan on the bottom line. Pligi bar of Nasan Rabbanan machlokes of Nasan Mechadam Shloisha. One said they were there for 3 days. They had a yeshiva there for a 3-day yeshiva. Right? The Chadam Shiva, and one said a 7-day yeshiva. Ba'amri la Shloishim, and one said a 30-day yeshiva. Right? And this has to do with, it's also Nemuke Yosef says that this has to do with the first 3 days of Avelus is much stronger than the first 7, and then the 7 is stronger than the 30, right? So that's what the machlokes here is totally in. How long did they feel that they needed or wanted to put a yeshiva by Chizkiyahu's kever, right? 3 days, 7 days, or 30 days. Okay.
Ethan Kobri, he writes about Simcha Wasserman. He made a 7-day yeshiva in I think L.A., California. They take these kids from the public school and gave them be a bacher for 7 days, and from those 7 days, so many kids stayed in yeshiva after that. A 7-day yeshiva. Mishpacha magazine, right? That's where he writes. Yeah.
What was it? This week?
Yeah, this week in Mishpacha magazine.
Last week, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's this week's gone. Last week's gone. Yeah.
I was gonna say like our yeshivas till they give an off Shabbos. It's around 3 days or 7 days. I don't want to go down that. But you know what? You gave me too much time. You left it hanging there for too long. 30 days, they certainly don't go. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Fine. Torah on the top line. Yeah, Torah on. The covered also like and they made a covered for Chizkiah when he died. Zeo Chizkiah Melech Yehuda, sheyatzu lefanav shloishim b'shisha elef chalutzei kasev. And they went in front of him 36,000 people that shoulders were from the word chalitza. The shoulders were removed, meaning not the shoulders weren't removed. The shirts covering their shoulders were removed because they tore kriya. So 36,000 marchers or soldiers or whatever it is went in front of him. Right?
So when in Zamelech, yeah. So everybody should have torn kriya. What's the big spritz?
So right. So that's really the Gemara's. What you're asking is the Gemara's next kasha. But first, Tosfos, like we said, ain't mavir on a 4-word Tosfos, right? That we have a chiyuv to do any 4-word Tosfos. So we have a 4-word Tosfos here. He says shloishim v'shisha elef loi, right? The gematria hachi have. What does that mean? Because it says the pasuk says "B'kavod asu loi b'maisai." So loi is 36. So that's where the 36,000 came from. I don't know how you connect 36 to 36,000. I don't know how that works. I didn't understand what Tais was talking about. I looked in the art scroll. The art scroll footnote said it. So that's how I know pshat, to be honest with you. Otherwise, I would not. Maybe I'm not the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but that's what I think the art scroll footnote said it.
It does. It says the same thing. Yeah, it says the same thing you just said.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have figured that out from the Tosfos. I mean, the 36 part, but how do you get from 36 to 36,000? Then I'm trying.
The footnote doesn't say it either. It just repeats Tosfos.
Yeah. It's just saying that's Pshat Tosfos, and I'm going to try to tie it into the 36 words of Hanera Salolu by Hanukkah, but I haven't figured out how to. There's got to be a connection there somehow, right? Okay. But anyways, David Rabbi Yehuda, so it was 36,000. Amalei Rav Nechemia. Achav also came. Achav was no. He was a melech, but he was no malach. Right? Don't they use the word Achav for like these pirates? Don't they use that? Sound like a pirate name, Achav, Ahab, or something? No, don't they use that? I don't know. Somewhere.
Ahab.
100%.
Somewhere in my
Talking about Moby Dick.
Moby Dick, maybe that's shot. Moby Dick. Okay, new shine, but he was no
Captain
tzaddik.
Ahab, no? Yes, you're right.
Yeah, very good. The Bekiyas. Right. So
Parrots, don't let anybody talk who's not, you don't see their picture, okay? Sounds like you're at Yankee Stadium.
we have a pretty good amount of pictures on tonight, actually. But anyway,
I'm getting pretty close to muting everybody.
Anyway, so Achav was no tzaddik. So he also had 36,000 people walk in front of him, right? And he was a real Russia. Ella, so what does it mean? I meant to do, okay. Ella shenicha sefer Torah al mitasai. What they did is they put a sefer Torah on Chizkiya's mita, Ba'amru, meaning when he was by the Levaya, Ba'amru kayim zeh mashakasav zeh. This one, meaning Chizkiya, was makayim, everything that it says in the sefer Torah. We do that now, right? So what was the chiddush that they did it for Chizkiya? So afukim mafkina and anuchila manchina. Nowadays, we take out the Sefer Torah, but we don't put it on the mita. Nowadays, we do put it onto the mita. Kayim lo yamrina, but we don't say he was makayim it. Right? So, and then Tosfos asks, how do you go put it on the mita? How do you you're not allowed to sit on the same thing that Sefer Torah, right? Even though he's not alive, right? So he says Chizkiya was a gadol b'Torah of a ma'asim tovim b'yoser, so therefore they were able to put the Sefer Torah on his mita. Right? I think I once posted the picture of the Chafetz Chaim's Levaya. Didn't we? Once had this Gemara. I meant to take the picture. Maybe I'll do it later. By the Chafetz Chaim's Levaya, they had his svarim that he wrote on the mita. They put it on the mita.
It was a stender, right? It was a picture of a stender. They took a stender and made it into his mita.
I think so, and then they took. That's a good thing too, because otherwise it would be on the internet and raffling.
That's got to be a heavy mita.
Whatever, but then he put they put the svarim on it. There's a picture. I'll find it. I think I'll find the picture. But anyways, so Amar Rav
Avi, all the Rabbanim, their coffin was made from the stender. Wasn't just the Chafetz Chaim.
That was, I think, it was Dominic that they. Yeah, so Omar Rabba Bar Chana Hava Azlina Behadei Rav Yochanan Lemishal Shmaitza. We went to Rav Yochanan to ask him about this. Like, what's the story with putting the Sefer Torah? So then he went to the bathroom. And then when he came back, we asked him the question. He didn't answer us. He washed his hands. Then he put back on his tefillin, and then he made the bracha. Nowadays we say that he was Mekayim, but we don't say that he learned it all. Right? So meaning, but by Chizkiah they did say, they said both. Right? Okay, so the obvious question here is, he put on his tefillin and then he made the bracha? Right? He's supposed to put on the tefillin, supposed to make the bracha and then put on the tefillin, right? It says he came out of the bathroom, washed his hands, put on the tefillin, and then made a bracha. So I thought maybe the bracha means he made asher yotzar, right? But it seems like not. It means he made the bracha of tefillin, right? Yeah. Okay. Whatever it is, that's a ha'ara on that. Yeah. Fine. The question. Yeah.
The footnote says that he made it onto
Made it on the tefillin. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so why would you have to even make it if you took it off? Usually you don't have to. It's not, even if it's a hefsek, no?
No, it depends.
So going to the bathroom is not a hefsek.
It depends which bathroom. If it's gedolim, then you make a bracha. If it's ketanim, then you don't have to make a bracha, because ketanim, theoretically you could go to the bathroom with the tefillin on, according to Iker Din. Right?
Could it mean the second bracha that you don't say? Other people say? You don't make. Remember, you don't make the bracha in the Rosh, if I remember correctly.
No, I don't say Baruch Shem. Everybody makes the bracha.
Oh, you don't say Baruch Shem. Okay, and I remember there was something. I thought you didn't say the bracha.
Right. You remember that Maisa with the kid? A kid texted me. I think it was a kid. Text me. He took off his tefillin to go to the bathroom. Should he make a new bracha? So I texted back. I said, depends. Did you go for? Was it for Gedolim? He texted back. He says, I'm not a gadol, I'm just a plain guy. So he totally missed the boat on that one. But anyways, so that it must have been this one is he went for Gedolim. Anyways, so Gemara asks a kasha of Amar Mar gadol limud Torah shalimud maybe lidei Maisa, that limud brings you to Maisa. So what are you saying that when they were Meshabeach Chizkiah, and he said that he was Mekayim and he was Loimed, right? So then, meaning it's less than Kiyum. So, why are we saying that meaning it's the opposite of what the Gemara is saying? The Gemara is saying Limud Torah is better because limud brings you, if you learn the Torah, then you can do the ma'asim. If you don't learn the Torah, then how do you know how to do the ma'asim? Right? So the Gemara answers like kasha halamigmar halagmure. One is talking about to learn yourself. So when you're learning yourself, so then doing the ma'asim tovim is better than learning. But lagmure, to teach, that's better than being mekayim mitzvahs. Right? So that's at least the way Rashi learns. The Tosfos has a whole different shot, but Rashi learns that to learn for yourself, your Makai is better to do mitzvahs than to learn yourself. But to teach others, that's a higher priority. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Amar Rav Yochanan.
This is one's whole life, or a certain tekufa, what is it? I mean, the Brisker Rav learned by himself for a long time. The Chazanish learned by himself for a long
time. Yeah, so you have, I mean, in order to be able to teach, you have to learn, no?
Yeah, they obviously knew more than me. I mean, I don't do either one, but so I mean. Okay, fine. I guess they decide for themselves somebody's that big. Okay.
Meaning, I think I hear you, Ha'ara. I think what it means is that once you got the knowledge, so now what's better? Sit and learn yourself, or should you teach? That's what they say. Reb Chaim Kanievsky was. Reb Chaim Kanievsky felt bad that he never gave shiurim. So that's why they asked him, why you spend so many hours answering people's shilas on the papers? He said, because he doesn't give shir. So since he doesn't give shir, this is his way of teaching Torah. Anyways, okay. So I'm Rabbi Yochanan ben Shimon ben Yochai. Ma'id v'siv ashreichem zayrei al kol mayim mishalchei regel hashor hachamor. It says ashreichem, praised are those that plant on all waters, right? And they send out the foot of the shor hachamor, which means kol Isaac b'Torah v'gemilas chasadim. Anybody who's Isaac in Torah v'gemilas chasadim, meaning he's doing both. Zaycha l'nachla shnei shvatim. He's going to be zaycha to inherit the I don't know if it means the midas of the two shvatim, or the rewards of the two shvatim, or he's going to be like the two shvatim, right? I think it means like that he's going to get the midas of the two shvatim, right? It's Yosef and Yisachar. Shenema ashreichem zayre. Praised are those that plant. Bein zriya ela tzedakah. Zriya means tzedakah. The plant means tzedakah. Shenema ziru lachem letzedakah v'kitzu lefi chesed. Plant tzedakah and then gather for chesed, from chesed. Bein mayim ela Torah, and mayim is in Torah. Shenema hay kol tzuma lechu lamayim, that you're going to be thirsty for water. Bezaycha lenachlas shnei shvatim, and then yizaycha to the inheritance of the two shvatim. Zaycha lekila ki Yosef, he's going to be zaycha to like a chuppah, like Yosef, meaning you get a lot. It's like a kavod thing to have a chuppah. Yosef ben Pyrus Yosef benois tzada ale shor, right? You have a ben Pyrus Yosef. You have Yosef is like Pyrus Yosef, the not the beauty, like the attractiveness, right? And benois tzada, and the girls would jump ale shor, and they would go out and look, meaning all the girls in Mitzrayim, right, is coming up in a few weeks, would jump to go see Yosef. That's how handsome he was. And you're going to inherit the inheritance, meaning the Yisachar, of the wealth of Yisachar. The Siv Yisachar Chamar Gara. Yisachar is a strong donkey, right? Now, right, because you have Yisachar Zvulun, correct? So you have wealth, and that causes limud Torah. Istahamri, Oiv of Neichel the fun of Ki Yosef, his enemies are going to fall in front of him like Yosef. With him, there's going to be a negicha, which means like we learned, the horns, right? Together, afsei oretz, to the end of the land. Right? Fine. And that's referring to Yeshua. Fine. Labina ki Yisachar, and he's going to be zaycha to understanding like Yisachar. The Sibim Bnei Yisachar Yoyde Bina Leitim Ladas Mayasa Yisrael. And the Bnei Yisachar, they understood what's going to be going on, and what will be done to, and what Klal Yisrael will do. Yeah. Okay, so that's basically, if you do Torah and Chesed, then you'll be zaycha to the best things from Yisachar and the best things from Yosef. Okay, Hadran Loch Arba Avos. First parak.
L'chaim.
I'm going to take a little drink here.
Rabbi, over here in the Metzifta, they bring in the footnotes where it says.
We can't hear you, Kalman.
Oh, you 1 second. I'm going to take off this thing.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the footnotes of the Mesifta, he brings the manach tefillin. It means he positioned the tefillin on his hand, and then he was mahadik it, and only right before all the way, that's what it means he made the bracha.
Meaning he did like the way we're supposed to put on the tefillin. That's
Yeah,
the way
and he brings that the Oitzar Chaim brings that it's Asher Yotzar, but he Afilipume. I'm gonna send you a screenshot if you want.
Yeah, Itaka brings that as Asher Yotza.
Yeah.
All right, at least I'm not so crazy. Okay, good. Thank you. Fine. Zok the Mishnah, yeah. Now this is actually
See, Yaakov, the picture you sent from the Chofetz Chaim.
I didn't send it, Aaron Kaplan sent it, but yeah, go ahead.
Either they just put 2 svarim or they put svarim underneath his I don't know if that's tachrichim, whatever that is. I mean,
you mean it's only a few svarim?
There's only 2 svarim.
Well, it's black and white, so maybe it's taka white.
Very good.
It's three svarim, and they look like they're tied together.
You only had 1 l'chaim. This is strange. I mean, obviously it happened. So, but
yeah, I don't know. I gotta see exactly. I gotta check one of the Chofetz Chaim books and see what's a pshat in those svarim. Why those 3? I don't know. But anyways, you ever saw any other gadol's levaya that they did this?
they say they did. They said they carry in front of the Adam gadol. Mchatzkel Abramsky, they carried his farm in front of him. In front of the well, he was Bernard Stroh, Mchatzkel Abramsky, so there was no coffin, so they carried this farm in front of the mita.
Interesting. I hear you. Okay.
Your father, didn't someone throw in a Gemara?
Yeah, but that was like that was all about. But yeah. Okay, so Ketzad Haregel Mued. A new parak. How does a regel become a muad? Meaning regel means the feet of the animal. Right? So what does it mean? The regel's mued. So what does it do? The answer is l'shaber b'derech hilucha. It breaks things as it walks. That's what it means that a regel is a muad. You're walking your animal, and it ends up crushing kalim. So he's a muad for that. Habehema muad is lahalach kedarka v'lishpa. A behema is a muad to go in its regular way and to break things, which seems to be repetitive. I just said that. Right? It says regel is what? It's a muad to break kalim while it walks, and behema is a muad to go in its regular derech. If the animal was kicking, or the pebbles were shooting out from under its feet, and it broke kalim, so then it makes chatzi nezek. So again, if it's kicking or pebbles come out from it, now those are 2 different dinim. The first one is that it's a tam, right? So memela, that's why he has to pay chatzi nezek, right?
What if it was mivates and it was nitas and tzeres?
It was what?
What if it did habata or mivates and it was nitas and tzeres through its bata?
I mean, it's a double.
Double.
That's Gemara you Testament Aleph. Gemara speaks about it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. It's very good. Right, but anyways, but let's make it clear. Mivaetes, the reason why it's a tam is because it doesn't normally damage with kicking. So since it doesn't normally damage with kicking, so we know you have 3 strikes. So you pay half nezek, right? But the tzroirus, which is a pebble comes out from it, we're going to see on Amid Beis, really there should be no chiyuv at all, right? What did it do wrong? It's walking and a pebble shoots out from under it and it damages something. So what's the problem there, right? So we're going to say that it's halacha l'moshe messina that you have to pay chatzi nezek, right? But one halacha here has nothing to do with the other one. Right? Okay.
Isn't that also Tyler in the Gemara later on? Doesn't the Gemara say later on Yudches, I think, that the tzreiris over here is shinoi tzreiris?
Well, we're gonna have to get to the whole. Even so, it makes it worse.
No, so it's Karen. It's the same as Mavatas.
Right. So that's what we're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to see in the Gemara because then, if that's the case, then there's sumcha shouldn't be chayli. Right.
Where it says Kol Yalma, even according to some customers.
We'll see that tomorrow's daf. Yeah. So then the Gemara says Darsa ala kli b'shavarta. Here we have like a whole dominoes. It stepped on a utensil and it broke it. The nafal al kli b'shavar. And then that utensil went and broke another kli. Right. So again, the cow or the ox stepped on a kli and damaged it. Then that kli went and rolled onto another kli and damaged that. So we have these dominoes. So there was 2 damages here. So ala risha mishalim nezek shalim. On the first one he pays nezek shalim because that's the regular way of walking. Ala acharon mishalim chatzi nezek. But the other one he pays chatzi nezek because that's the same thing as a pebble flying out. Tarnagoylim, chickens, muad and lahalak gedarka l'shaver. Chickens walk around and if there's a kli on the floor, they're going to bust it. If it was a rope tied to the foot of the chicken, or if it was jumping around, and it breaks kelim, then it pays chatzi nezek again, because it's not the normal thing for a rope to be tied to a chicken's foot, and it's not the norm for them to be jumping around. So therefore, for that you pay chatzi nezek until you have 3 strikes. Okay, so that's the Mishnah. So on to Amud Beis. Amarle Ravina l'Rava, Hainu Regel, Hainu Behema. The first 2 lines in Mishnah seem to be repetitive. Regel means the animal's walking and damages, right? And then Behema is what? The animal walks and damages. So it's the same thing. Amarle Tana Avos V'Gatani told us. No, it's teaching you Avos, like we learned way back in the beginning of the Sechta. Not so way back, but in the Daf Beis Amud Beis, that there's Avos. And then there's told us, right? So then the Gemara asks, "Elamiyata Seifa," the next Mishnah, the Katani Hashem Muedes, a Behema Muedes. There it says that Shane, meaning teeth, is a muad, and a Behema is Muedes. My obviously my told us Ika. So that also seems to be repeating itself. And there, what's the obvious and told us, right? Yeah, so meaning, because what is it saying there? That it says the shane, then it says behema eats fruits and vegetables. So those are both of us. So Gemara says, so he answered him back with a joke, and he said to him, I already answered one question. Because Ravina had asked Rava Kasha. And Rava answered its Abbas and told us. And then Ravina went and asked him another kasha. So then Rava made a joke. It said, I already answered one. Now it's your turn to answer the other one. Right? Okay, but time am I. So what is the pshat? Why is it repeated? So Ravashi, Tana Shein, the Chaya, but Tana Shein, the Behema. Because there's 2 different types of teeth. There's teeth of a Chaya, which is officially considered a wild animal, not domesticated animal. And you have Shein of Behema. So you need 2 different limudim. Why? Why do you need 2 different things? Teeth of an animal is teeth of an animal. Why do you need two of them? So if it says that you send out, be'iroi, Rashi says here means an animal. Behema in chayaloi. You send out an animal that's under your control. You send out. Behema in chayaloi. A chaya you don't send out. Kamash malon. The chaya b'chalal behema. The chaya is included in behema, and therefore they're both considered. It's going to both be considered a muad. Yeah. So they were asked, right? So then, if that's the case, then he should have said behema first. Why does it say chaya and then behema? Behema should come first, right? So Gemara answers, midrasha chabivale. This that if somebody learns a drasha, meaning the chachamim worked it out based on the Torah, then that's more chaviv, right? When you have your own vart, everybody would much rather say over their own vart before they say over somebody else's vart, right? So if since the chachamim added on chaya, so they wanted to say chaya first, even though the ikr din is by behema. So when I ask Yachi Reisha Nami, listen, Yahid like Siva Beresha. By our case, why doesn't it say the one that's not written first? Right? Let's say behema first without saying regal. So my answer is Hachi Hashtahasam Idividi Avas. Over there, they're both avos, meaning a chaya and a behema are avos. So then, since they're both equal, they're both avos nazikin. So whichever one you like, you could pick first, meaning, and the one you like is the one you're learning out. Here, we're going to leave the av and we're going to learn the tolda. No, meaning, av is always going to go first, right? Even though we'd rather write what's chaviv to us, what we learned out first, what we made a chiddush, our own chiddush, we'd rather say over first. But that's only when they're both equal. But in our Mishnah, with what we learned out first was a tolda, and then there's a av, which is not learned out. So there, we're going to make sure to still say av first, even though tolda is the one that we were mechadish. That's one teretz. Since we finished off with regel, right, meaning the last Mishnah was haregel mu'edes, it didn't say behema, so too, in our Mishnah we start off with regel also, and then we go to behema. Okay, so that's why the Mishnah says those two things that way. Fine. Taner Rabbanan. Behema mu'edes lahalach kedarku l'shabar ketzad. What's the case? How does it work that a behema is a mu'ed to walk in its way and break things? So behema shenichnas l'chatzar and nizik. A behema walks into the yard of the nizik, bezika begufa, and it does damage with its body derech hilucha as it's walking, ubasayra derech hilucha, or with its hair as it's walking, right? Meaning the animal has long hair, and the hair like swings out and breaks something or grabs onto it, gets tied up with the utensil. But with a saddle that's on it, shlif shaleh. Shlif is the load that it has on it. The krumbi shabapia, some sort of thing that it keeps in its mouth. Ubezug shabatzavara, or the bells that hang from its neck. The chamar b'masai, or a donkey with the packages it has on it, with the load. All of those mishalim nezek shalom, you pay nezek shalom. Why? Because that is the regular way. That's the regular way they work. So you gotta watch them. Sumchas aimer tzrayras v'chazir shayonover ba'ashva v'hizek. So tzrayras, which we discussed right before, with pebbles that shoot out from under the feet, and a chazer that's shayonover ba'ashva. It's how do you call it? Nosing. There's a word. It's nosing. No, it's being nosy, right? Whatever. Nosing around the thing. When hizik damages mishalim nezek shalom, they pay nezek shalom. So Gemara says hizik pshita. Right? You have a pig going around and breaking things. So what's the chiddush that it pays nezek shalom? Halaema hitis v'hizik mishalim nezek shalom. What it means is that if the pig, while it was rummaging, is really the word I'm looking for. No, rummaging. No, it was rummaging around in all the garbage, and then something flies out, a piece of garbage flies out and damages something else. So that's tzroirus. So then that pays nezek shalom, because sumchas hold that tzroirus pays nezek shalom. He disagrees with the chacham. Tzroirus man tochashmaya. Who mentioned anything about tzroirus? You have the first 5-6 cases there of animal damaging, right? That's nothing to do with tzroirus. So because there's something missing. Tzroirus kior chayu chatzi nezek. Tzroirus is chatzi nezek. Chazir shoyu nover ba'ashva v'hitis v'hizik mishalom chatzi nezek. And a chazer that's rummaging around, a garbage dump, and something shoots out and damages is chatzi nezek. Sumchas oimer tzroirus v'chazir shoyu nover ba'ashva v'hitis v'hizik mishalom nezek sholem. Sumchas disagrees. Right, so we have to make sure we know this machlokes because it's going to come up tomorrow's daf too. We keep saying that tzroirus has a special din, that a rock shoots out from under the animal's foot and damages, so you pay chatzi nezek. Right, that's the chachamim. Sumchus disagrees with that, and he says it pays nezek shalom. Okay, so Taner Rabbanan, Haragan show you mafrichim mimakom mamiyev. You have chickens or roosters or whatever, fowl that's jumping around from place to place. V'shavru kelim b'kanfeim, and they break kelim with their wings. Mishalim nezek shalom, they pay nezek shalom. But beruach shebekanfeim, meaning the wings themselves don't touch anything to break it. They just, since they're flapping their wings, they make a breeze or wind, and then it goes and knocks down a kli. So mishalim chatzi nezek, he pays chatzi nezek because that's like tzroirus. It's not direct. Tzroirus is like once removed. If the chicken's wing smacks something, so that's direct damage. If it just makes it blows a kli off a table, let's say, So that's once removed. So therefore, that's tzroirus, to which you only pay chatzi nezik. So
Yaakov, is the idea?
Silva says nezik shalim. Silva disagrees, says nezik shalim. Yeah.
Is it possible to learn? I mean, I know it's a halacha ma'aseh, but is it possible to learn out from tzad shava tzroirus from, let's say, bar or something else?
What do you mean?
That it could be chayiv and nezik shalim. Like the Gemara in the first parak went through a lot of different cases where you could learn, like all the different types of mazikim. You could learn out that you could be mechuyev from different tzad shavas of two of them. Correct? Could tzroirus technically also be learned out from two of them?
I am going down that road, Akiva.
I think tzroirus is even worse. Tzroirus is l'shaber derech hilucha. It's regel. It's mamish regel. That's why Sumcha says nezik shalim straight out. It's just regel. Come and learn it halacha which we see now, which changes it to chatzi nezik. But it's really regel. I think the Gemara kind of says this on your test.
Okay, we're gonna be involved with tzroirus for the next couple of blocks, so we'll hopefully get to the bottom of it. But anyway, so that's the basic machlokes. Tani idach, we learned another brayso. Tana goylin show you mahatzin al gabi isav al gabi peres. You have tana goylin that were jumping up and down on top of dough or on top of fruits. Now that's obviously not going to bode well for the fruits and for the dough. So v'tinfu I nikru, and they made it dirty, or they were nikru means they were pecking at it. Right? So mashalim nezik shalim, because that's a direct damage, they pay full payment. Helu afar, tzroirus, but if they lifted up literally dirt or pebbles, mashalim chatzi nezik, they pay chatzi nezik. So chazamer nezik shalim, same thing, tzroirus. Tani idach, tarnagol shahim mafriach mimakom lemakom, you have a tarnagol that's flying from one place to another, v'yatz the ruach, v'tachas knafa v'shivras kelim, and the ruach goes out from one of its wings and it breaks some kalim. Mishalim chatzi nezek, it pays chatzi nezek. Stam rabbanon, that is a stam like the rabbanon, because you're paying chatzi nezek for tzroirus. Fine. For whatever reason, I don't know why the Gemara doesn't ask why we need all these cases, but the Gemara doesn't ask it. So I'm a rabba. Why does Sumchus hold you have to pay full damage? Because he says that a kaichai, meaning something that's coming from your strength, is like your body itself, and therefore you have to pay full damages. If you say that you're kaichai kigufay, so then they should hold like Sumchus, and you should have to pay your full damage. Meaning again, kaichai kigufay is that when there's a difference if I hit somebody or I throw a ball at somebody and damage him. I do the same amount of damage. When I hit them with my fist, that's my body. When I throw with a ball, I'll throw a ball at him or shoot him. It's koichai. It's not gufay. So if you hold koichai is kegufay, so then it's going to be the same type of damage. If you say koichai is lav kegufay, then it's one step removed. So again, so the Rabbanon, if they hold tzroirus is kegufay, so you have to pay nezik shalim. Be lav kegufay dummy. And if it's not like the guf chatzi nezik nami lelasham, then they shouldn't pay chatzi nezik either, right? Because chatzi nezik is only meant when the thing damages in an abnormal way, right? But this is not like that. So really, it's like your guf. Okay, so why are you only paying chatzi nezik? Chatzi nezik tzroirus hilchos of gemirila. It's halacha l'moshe b'sinai. Halacha l'moshe b'sinai says that even though koichai kegufay, still that's you only pay half. Okay, fine. Let's do a little bit more. So Omar Rava, Kol Zav Tomei. So now a Zav has some unique halachas, where a Zav can either carry things or sit on a bunch of things. Normally the way Tumah works is whatever somebody Tomei touches becomes a Rishon, and then the Rishon touches something else, becomes a Sheni, then it becomes a Shlishi, right? That's the normal way of Tumah. By a Zav could be holding a whole bunch of things. Everything that he's holding in his arms will become Tomei. Even if there's, let's say, 10, he's holding 10 boxes. All 10 boxes will become tummy. That's called tumas hesed, from carrying, right? And then you have tumas medris, which is anything that's under the zav, also becomes tummy. So let's say the zav is sitting on 10 chairs. You have chairs piled up in the shul or whatever, and the kid sits on top. Well, the kid is a zav, and he sits on top, and so all the chairs are going to become tummy. So what Rav is saying is anything that would become tummy by a zav, b'nizakin, if you would say the same scenario by damages, mishalim nezek shalim, he would have to pay nezek shalim, meaning because it's all connected. Kol shebezav tar, but if it's tar by a zav, let's say the chairs are disconnected or side by side, right? Let's say a zav sitting on one chair, and there's another chair next to him, and then another chair next to that. It's going to stop, right, after shlishi. So if it stops, so then that same thing would happen with nizakin, meaning you sitting on a chair and you move the chair, which then moves another chair and moves another chair, and then it damages, then you would be potem, right? So meaning the same way, if it wouldn't become tummy from a zav, then if you damaged along those same lines, it also would not become you're not be chayiv in damages. I mean, you would be chayiv just chatinez, right? Again, if it would become tummy for a zav, so b'nizakin v'shalim nezek shalim, he would pay nezek shalim. Kol shebezav tahar, it would be tar for a zav. Then b'nizakin v'shalim chatzi nezek would pay chatzi nezek. So the Gemara says, what you say, essentially what you're doing is saying tzroiris, right? Just a fancy way of saying an example of tzroiris, because right, we said with a zav, if they're all connected to each other, so it's looked at one thing, it becomes tummy, and the same thing with damages. And if it's not connected, then this by a zav it won't become tummy, and you won't have to pay full damages. So that's basically saying tzroiris. So the Gemara asks, but of tzroiris also lashmina. You coming to teach us tzroiris? So when it says loy Rava egla mesheches bekarin kamashmalan, he's talking about if a calf is pulling a wagon and the wagon does the damage. How do you look at that? Right? How do you look at is it considered as an extension of the cow, or is it considered a separate entity? Right. So Rava is saying that if it's all connected in a way that a zav would be tameh, so then it's considered like it's the animal itself. Otherwise, no. Right? So the Gemara says, Tanya Kabasei, the Rava, Behema Muedas, the Shabbat, B'derech Hilucha Ketzad. How is it that a behema becomes a muad while it's walking? Behema Shenichus L'Chatzar HaNizik, it goes into the yard of the Nizik. Ve'zika Begufa, Derech Hilucha, B'Saira Derech Hilucha, damages with its body or with its hair. B'Ochav She'aleh, or B'Shlif She'aleh, right, with the saddle, or the load, or the Prum Yeshav or this thing that's in its mouth, or B'Zuk Shivit Zavara, or the bells on its neck, B'Chamar, B'Masai, B'Egla, Meshechas, B'Karin, right, and that's the last case there, an Egla, a calf, that's pulling a wagon, B'Shalim Nezek Shalim. So that's Mamash Abraisa, that's exactly like Rava, right? Fine. Okay. Let's stop. I guess we'll stop over there because the next one is a new sugya, a different